if you haven't heard of PAEON, that's okay, because up until very recently, I hadn't either. But you'll be glad they've been brought to your attention now, because not only are they a top-tier, A-grade quality band, they have just released their debut EP. So this is your chance to jump aboard the bandwagon as it's leaving the station. And there is something kind of special about clicking with a band in their early days and watching them grow. And I've no doubt these guys are going to go the distance. I nabbed a bit of time with their guitarist vocalist Jacob to chat about the release of the EP, which is titled Push, and to learn about PAEON's journey so far. So let's jump into it. It's been a hot minute since I chatted with someone rad on the show, and I am stoked to have Jacob from Melbourne prog metal band PAEON joining me today. What's up, homie? Thanks for your time. Welcome to Heretic Frequency.
Oh, thank you. It's awesome to be on, and thanks for doing what you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Hopefully it makes a difference in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely does.
I am keen to learn more about PAEON though, because I didn't know you guys existed until my band played a show with you a couple of months back. And we always get to Melbourne, well, most of the time we get to Melbourne shows later than we would like due to travel from Bendigo, and like we're juggling work schedules and stuff like that. So we actually walked into the venue when you guys had started playing. And I mean, normally, as you know, you kind of in load-in mode and whatnot, but we all stopped and watched because we were like, hell yeah, this rules. And then I saw your Facebook post the other day, and you were saying that the band has been together for like 5 years, but you've only just released the EP now, yesterday, in fact. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I guess this is a good enough time as any to give me the story around the origins of PAEON and what saw you taking 5 years to release music.
Oh no, I feel ashamed right now.
Well, I mean, we did have a pesky pandemic and stuff chucked in the mix in the last 5 years as well, which has you know,
Been a spanner in the works.
yeah, just a little.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole thing is really been a journey in every single sense. So I moved to Melbourne from New Zealand in 2018, and I'd played in a band back in New Zealand for about 7 years, and we had an EP and an album and whatnot. And the 7 years that I'd spent in that band were my teenage years. So very formative years. And yeah, it's crazy to think that PAEON had been around for almost as long as that. It feels nowhere near as long. So anyway, having spent 7 years during my teenage years in a band, I'd wrapped up so much of my identity in that band. And when we broke up, I didn't really know who I was or what else to do with myself. And I knew that I wanted to play original music and I wanted to play in a band. But yeah, starting again in Christchurch was really quite overwhelming. And so that's why I thought, no, if I'm going to start again, I'm going to do it in another country. So yeah, 2019, I'd slowly, met the right people to kind of start a band with over my time of living in Melbourne. And initially when we'd gotten together, it wasn't with the intention of writing original music. It was like, hey, let's jam some tunes together.
Sure. So covers and stuff like that, you mean, or are you just jamming?
Yeah, we were playing covers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually we just started writing like a few riffs here and there. And then it kind of took a turn into, oh, well, I mean, these covers are cool, but originals is even cooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, started jamming our own stuff. And yeah, then that eventually kind of became a full-time thing. But yeah, I think there's some people who are there to help form the band might not be the same people that are there to record music and write music kind of full time and take the brand out into the world.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say that I don't want to play the victim and say like, no, the pandemic is the reason why it took us so long. It was just not quite having the right team on board. And that was only realised, I think, last year we had So Wes our bass player, we've been in the band since the beginning. And we got Simon, our drummer, on board, I think about September 2022.
Hmm.
And then Tyler, who is Wes's brother, joined us, I believe, August last year.
Okay, so it is. I can see now why you think you still feel like it's a new band then, because it essentially sort of is.
Kind of is,
What I
yeah.
took from that little story too is it's like any kind of marriage or a relationship, right? Often you hear of people who get married young and they wrap their identity up in that other person, and then when they grow apart, you kind of left lost and you don't know where to go. And so you travel out into other parts of the world to find yourself, and it sounds like that's sort of what you ended up with PAEON. But just starting with the covers and things like that sounds like it was a bit of a friends with benefits kind of relationship that ended up actually becoming something more than you anticipated. So that's a cool little journey, and I think you picked the right place by coming to Melbourne too. There's like no shortage of cool musos and stuff. So
Well, absolutely. My first intention was to come over here for 2 years because I thought killing time in Melbourne for 2 years was going to be much more constructive than killing time in New Zealand.
yeah. Yep.
So, and well, it's been 6 years and I've got no intention of moving. So, yeah, life's good.
One of us. One
Yeah.
of us. Okay, so the EP is called Push, and there are 4 tracks. And I mean, I know 4 tracks is pretty standard for an EP, but some lay people might think, oh, only 4 tracks. But it opens with War Within, which is nearly 8 minutes long anyway. So that's a lot of bang for your buck. But also notice the track 3, let me see if I can say it right.
Yeah, I'll test it.
Clepsydra?
Yes, 100%.
Clepsydra Part 1. So I'm going to assume that there's probably, I shouldn't assume anything really, should I? But I'm going to assume there's a Part 2 lingering around waiting to be heard. So that's exciting. But give me a little bit of insight into what these 4 songs represent.
Oh, okay, good question. Yeah, so War Within and Time Will Not Heal, so the first and the final track on the EP, the titles and the lyrical content literally came about because the chorus hooks were the first thing that I came up with. And so there wasn't really any afterthought. It was like, okay, this is the first thing that I'm singing. This is like a new riff I've come up with. Those are the words. Cool. This is what the song's about. They yeah, kind of just popped out of nowhere, really. But yeah, and since those songs have been written, they've basically retained their original form with like very few tweaks. Whereas Voice and Fire, the second track, that was actually the very first song that PAEON wrote as a band. So I'm talking back 2019. But it is nothing like the original. Like that song has taken on 100 different forms. But despite that, we felt it was appropriate to release that first. The first ever song PAEON released. And
Well, it sounds like that song has gone on just as much of a journey as the band has.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
That seems pretty fitting.
And yeah, Clepsydra Part 1, honestly, that was an afterthought. Like, we'd finished tracking the EP, I believe, in December. Yeah. And we had 3 tracks. Clepsydra Part 1 was not on there. And then during the mixing process, one of us had the idea of, oh, hey, let's do like a little ambient track in between some of the songs. And yeah, we spent an evening just sort of playing around in Ableton, and sure enough, we came up with Clepsydra Part 1.
So I'm a big fan of obscure words too. You just have to ask my bandmates. They roll their eyes all the time at some of the things I come up with. But what does clepsydra mean? It's really fun to say.
Okay, so a clepsydra is it's an ancient water clock. So it's basically like an hourglass, but instead of sand, it's water.
Oh yeah,
That's
sick.
I'm not going to say unit of measurement, but it's I guess the medium of measurement.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you've got an hourglass on the cover of the EP too, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really a case of, okay, we've got this track. It leads into Time Will Not Heal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what's a fancy word that we can use for time? And yeah, I think Tyler did a bit of researching and saw this thing clepsydra. And initially that was just a bit of bit of a joke. And then I thought, like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to say it, but when I look at it visually, it's a very cool word.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys are musos after my own heart because that's exactly what I do. I'm like, it's just like, let's take this meaning and fancy it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'd love to take credit for that, but yeah, it's a team effort, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So there obviously is a bit of a theme running through the songs, is there, that ties them all together? Or was that a happy accident?
If you twist it enough, I'm sure, yeah, you can come to a but I think, like, yeah, behind the scenes, especially just with the whole making of the EP, Wes and Tyler, they've just been bouncing concepts and ideas off each other, and it's me and Simon, we're kind of, it's almost like we're watching a friendly game of ping pong or something. It's like all these
Yeah.
are being bounced across, and we're like, cool, you guys can take
Yeah.
care of that. We'll take care of other stuff that needs doing.
It sounds like you've got a pretty cruisy dynamic then, and you just let things sort of fall into place organically.
Yeah, look, it hasn't always been like that, and that's, yeah, that's due to the fact that yeah, it's taken us quite the journey to get the team that we have, and now that we do have that team, and everyone is, yeah, quite capable of doing their own little thing within the band. Absolutely.
You can hear it in the music too when, I don't know, when the team is cohesive. So, as a music journalist slash musician, I can hear what I'm boldly assuming to be influences laced throughout the EP. But why don't you go ahead and confirm or correct my assumptions? What has sonically shaped and influenced Payon's music? What's in the melting pot of Payon?
Jeez. So the before we had music out, and I had to somehow describe Payon to other people, the way I'd summarize it is it's a mix between Tool, Trivium, and Tesseract. Tool being because, yeah, three-quarters of the band. Like, I would say, like, I mean, I love Tool, but
Mm.
compared to the other guys, like, I'm nowhere near as big of a fan as they
You
are.
got the three T's.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's too much effort to, yeah, think of other letters, but no, look, it's really, yeah, it really is a melting pot. Like, I say those three bands, but then other people hear our music and they go, "Oh, yeah, I hear a little bit of Opeth in that." I'm like, "Awesome."
Hmm. Yeah, I love it when someone says that they can hear an influence in your music that you have never listened to in your life.
Yeah,
That's happened to me a few times. I'm like, cool. I've never listened to that ever. So, but no, Trivium was one of the ones that I picked. So,
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, like, I was recently in New Zealand and I played the EP to the family, and my sister started singing "Silence in the Snow" by Trivium. As soon as we heard "Time Will Not Heal," and "Time Will Not Heal" is actually a lyric from the song "Shogun" by Trivium.
yeah, yeah. Okay, there you go.
When I was sort of coming up with the song, like, that's just the first thing that I sung, and just rolled with it.
Love it. And so, when you guys were back in the day doing the cover thing, were those the sort of bands that you were jamming?
No, not necessarily. Yeah, we were jamming quite a few different things. So, but Tool was one of them. But yeah, like, we were jamming System of a Down and Alice in Chains, and I think we talked about Porcupine Tree, but I don't think we ever did it like as a full band. So I guess, like, in a way, there's definitely a bit of, I guess you could say, alternative rock or metal thrown in there as well.
I guess as well, this is a an issue that I've always had in my band is that we can't ever decide or agree on covers. So we've never ever been able to play a cover together. And sometimes it would be nice if you've got like some extra time in a set or whatever, or you're getting that, not that it happens very often, but that one more song, one more song. It'd be nice to chuck in a cover from time to time. Do you guys put any in your sets at the moment, or is it all original?
We're actually in the same boat now because now we're a completely different team, and
Yes.
we have a different focus. We can't agree on covers. Like,
Welcome to the club.
yeah, I mean, hey, it's not necessarily about getting rid of your problems, but just having better problems. And I think
Yes.
focusing on originals and not wanting to do covers is, yeah, pretty good problem.
Yeah.
In my
No, I would 100% agree with that as well. What about your writing process? Everyone's creative process is different. Every band is different. Do you guys go away and come up with things individually, or do you jam in a room together? How's your songwriting process? How does that look?
Yeah, so because a lot of these songs, like especially the ones off Push and some of the other ones that we have left over, yeah, they're pretty old, really, like quite a few years old. Yeah, for the most part, the songs that I've come up with, and some of which were written like during the lockdowns here, because I didn't really have much else to do, so just spend time on my computer and guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I'll write about, let's say, 70 to 80% of a song, and then it's really during the pre-production process where everyone else will sort of come into their own, and obviously I'm not playing all the parts. Like I'm doing my thing, and the other guys will take what I've written and yeah, might just present a few different ideas here and there. And so yeah, at the end of the day, like what you hear on the EP, that's really a product of the full band. So when we begin writing with this
Yeah.
team, it's definitely going to change.
And that's the fun part, isn't it? Once you've got people that can, effectively contribute, it gets really
Oh,
exciting.
100%. Like to me, it's a double-edged sword relying on other people.
Absolutely. But if you've got the right people around you, it's quite good. Even though I could still probably happily choke some of my band members from time to time, but you know, that's also part of the process, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about the future then? Like what are we looking at for the second half of 2024? Are you guys just going to focus on gigging, or can we expect more music coming out?
Yes.
Yes and yes.
Like we're a bunch of newbies at the moment, and so yeah, we're keen to just play shows and get out there in real life, and as well as yeah, promoting the EP online and chipping away at the next release, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm super stoked that I got you guys on board for the Witch Grinder show here in Bendigo on August 17. And it's going to be such a bloody fun night. I know PAEON haven't been in Bendigo before.
No?
And I'm guessing since you came over from New Zealand pre-lockdown and then smacked into lockdown, you haven't been in this neck of the woods either, right?
Well, I reckon I've been to Bendigo for about 15 minutes, and that was to stop off for a coffee. I used to live in Sunbury, so I've driven up and down the Calder Freeway a fair bit, but yeah, never stopped in to Bendigo for like a good stay.
Haven't performed here.
No, haven't played a gig, so yeah, really.
Amazing. Well, it's a rad show for your first B Town experience, I have to say.
Oh
I
yeah,
also just locked in another special performer. Lilith Latex will be showcasing like theatrical, exotic dancing talents. So it's going to be a bit of a night of something for everyone, I think.
excellent. Well, we're yeah super excited for it.
I reckon I've seen your name on a couple of flyers making the rounds of social media lately. So anyone outside of Bendigo, have you got other shows coming up?
Yeah, so we are playing this Friday.
Yes.
July the 5th at Bad Decisions Bar. We're playing with Beautiful Bedlam, Sentia, and Seas of Titan, who are returning from hiatus.
Yeah, we've played with Seas of Titan before, and Sentia, I love Sentia. Great band.
High quality music, that's for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Have you played at Bad Decisions before?
No, I've been there once as a punter, but yeah, really looking forward to playing there.
Fun little corner of the world.
Yeah, and what I love about playing venues that aren't too big is that even if it's just the bands and plus ones, it's going to be pretty full.
It still feels like a vibe.
Yeah, that's right. And look, my idea is that as I said, like at the moment, Payon, we're a bunch of nobodies right now, and so if we're playing to 20 people, if that's 20 people who have never seen Payon before, bring it on. We love it.
I feel like you should hold that attitude even when you're not nobodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and don't say nobodies. You're somebody to me now. I'm like number one fan.
Yeah, no, look, I definitely don't say it in a way that's self-denigrating. Like I absolutely believe in the band and believe in the music. But yeah, I think it's just more than anything a a case of trying to be level headed.
Yeah, 100%. Just do what you do and hope that it hits home, right?
Oh, absolutely. And look, the way that you guys played at Mr. Boogeyman Bar that night, that fateful night, our first show together.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys played as if it was a room of 100 people, and like I don't know how many there were. There was like couldn't have been more than
Like two.
me. I think some of my bandmates were there as well, but
I was gonna say, I think it was the bands and the bar staff and like one of my friends, and that was about it.
no.
But but you know what? We take it as, even it's just practice. It's good practice. It's like band practice, but on a stage, and that's you would know yourself. The jam space and being in a bar is two completely different scenarios, and
It
it's
is. And I
yeah.
think if any band can just retain that love and that joy of being in the band room together and rehearsing your own stuff and creating whatever it is, then naturally, even if you're just doing that to a few people out at a bar, you're still going to have a blast. And I think it's just something really important to hold on to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the positive I took from it is that there were plenty of clear tabletops and chairs for me to stand on and jump around on. It's much harder to climb on furniture when there's people in the way.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, yeah. The main takeaway from that show was obviously being connected with you guys.
Exactly. I feel like you never walk away from a show without a positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I reckon Bendigo is going to be a super positive for you guys. I can't wait to have you here. I know it's going to be a real vibe, and I can't wait to showcase you guys to the people of Bendigo. So, oh, and I also expect Wes to be wearing a shirt that is equally as amazing as the one he wore the night we played together, or more amazing, which
Okay.
I've just created that word. Otherwise, you'll never play in this town again.
I thought we were just here to play tunes, but all right.
There's a dress code only for Wes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
all riding on the quality of the shirt.
Yeah.
It has been so good chatting with you today and learning about the band more. And like I said, I'm definitely a fan and I will be watching keenly as your journey continues to unfold. I urge everyone to go check out Push, the new EP by PAEON, and get your butts to a show, especially that one in Bendigo. Good times guaranteed. I am going to let you select a song from the EP for me to play. And if you feel like chatting for just like a little bit longer, you can go nuts and tell me like what it's about and why it's your favorite. Because we all know we always pick our favorites to play.
Great. Okay. Well, it's pretty hard to pick my favorite song off the EP, but I'm gonna say Heretic Frequency should play War Within because that is the song that we haven't pushed as much as the other two.
Hell yeah. Let's go the 8-minute song.
The quickest 8 minute song you.
So give me a little bit of insight into War Within then before we jump into it. Do you want to explain sort of the themes, what it's about? Or do you want people to deduce their own?
Yeah, well, ideally, yes, I do like for people to have their own interpretation of the lyrics. But yeah, generally, when I was writing the lyrics, the vision was like someone walking through like a cave or a tomb with a fire torch and just like bringing light to the dark.
I love that. I love how music can conjure up images.
Absolutely. And I hope that image is different for others, and we can have a grand interpretation of it.
Hell yeah. Alrighty then. Well, let's listen to War Within. Thanks so much, Jacob.
Thanks, Aaron. It's been awesome, and really looking forward to this Bendigo show.
Hell yeah. I'm going to say it again. Make sure you get PAEON's debut EP, Push, into your ear holes. And if you can, try and get to a gig. They put on a hell of a show. You can see them this Friday, July 5th at Bad Decisions Bar with Seas of Titan, Sentia, and Beautiful Bedlam. Then in Bendigo at the Golden Vine Hotel with Witchgrinder, Space Goat, Rise from Ashes, and No Hope. That one's Saturday, August the 17th. They'll also be appearing at the Gasometer on Thursday, August 22nd with Absentia, Veiled Arc, Drover, and Crystallines. That one is an Outcast Bookings event. So I kind of want to shout those guys out too, as they are putting on some awesome local shows around Melbourne at the moment, doing amazing things for the scene. They are wonderful, passionate people, the team behind Outcast Bookings. So make sure you suss out their social media pages and give them a follow to be in the loop on when and where some really rad shows are happening. Cheers for listening to another episode of Heretic Frequency. Peace out.